at the college I was going to, and I was Googling and looking up Kaplan real estate education. And right then and there, I looked myself in the mirror of the vehicle I was driving and said, I can do this. I own two self-pour tap rooms that are a great connector for our customers, and to see the joy that comes from them, and to be able to see my customers come and support the tap rooms and then talk real estate. It's kind of a really cool way to engage and to connect. Duluth is everlasting, ever growing. You know, it's going to only get bigger and bigger, I feel like, and it's that big little town.
So I'm sitting here with Jordan DeCaro from our Duluth, London Road office. And the other day I was talking to Mary Grau. She was asking me who I was going to have on the show next. And I said, Jordan, I am excited to have him. He's just this young entrepreneur. And I said something about you being 25 years old. And she was like clicking away. She goes, Brenda, he's 30. And I go,
I think you knew me as when I first started.
When you first
Yeah,
started,
yep.
I didn't realize it had already been 5 years.
Isn't it crazy?
And so, she made the joke, of course, that in my eyes, you'll always be 25,
Oh,
Jordan.
for sure. Yeah. I mean,
So
you guys,
we don't age when we.
yeah. I mean, that was a big part of my life, is switch when I made the move to REMAX Results, and
Yes.
a young 25-year-old guy, that was looking for the proper guidance and the
Yeah.
direction. And it was, I always say how much bigger you guys made me think about
Yes.
myself, and the amount of drive and potential I saw in myself, and gave me that extra push.
And it was Emily Gallagher, the managing broker in that region, that said, you got to meet with Jordan.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And when I first met with you, I was blown away. You were new into the industry, and you had already owned how many properties?
I think it's a good segue into kind of my story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I turned 18. I was graduating from Duluth Central High School, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I remember when I was 17, I was going to schools touring to be a cop, and just you don't know at that age. And so I did go to a college right out of the gate. I was there for about 30 minutes, and then I will never forget. I was sitting in the parking lot at the college I was going to, and I was Googling and looking up Kaplan real estate education. And right then and there, I said, I looked myself in the mirror of the vehicle I was driving and said, I can do this. I really knew I cared about people, and it's like speed. You kind of are born with certain qualities, and that's been my big thing, is just, I was raised to just be a great person and do whatever you can for people.
Were your parents influencers? Did they own, or how did you get started on, just first of all, you were an investor.
Yeah.
Before you.
My dad, it was me, my dad, my brother.
Okay.
We grew up together. That's who raised me. My mom had passed away at a very young age. And,
Okay.
I'll never forget my dad, sitting us down and saying, we're going to do this together. You guys are going to be great. And there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but you're never going to use losing your mom as an excuse, because we're going to always rise above adversity. And he's so special, and he's sacrificed everything for me to be this person. And it wasn't, buying me the nice things or doing, more of the material things. It was more of, this is how you're going to treat people. This is, you're going to go the extra step. And he was in entrepreneurship in a sense. He owned a liquor store right next to UMD, and he was
convenient.
Yeah. He was more like we'd go to a UMD hockey game, and they would start chanting, the student section would start chanting his name, Angelo. So he just knew how to take care of people.
Yeah.
And so that resonated off to me. And that was the biggest thing that I took from my childhood, is, how you treat people is where you're going to end up, in your career, and your legacy, and the respect that you give to people, the respect you're going to get back. And, for me, it's been amazing to hear, our local Duluth, which is relatively small, say, Jordan's the real estate guy in Duluth, and he's the up and comer, and even though I've been in it since I was 18, I got hit my prime at such a young age and have been able to build off of that prime and hopefully, you know, have a legacy. And, you know, it's great to be financially free, but it's also nothing's more satisfying in, having a legacy, having people remember you by, wow, he was super special to me.
Mhm.
He remembered certain things about me. And, those are the qualities, those are the things that you really want to work hard at and earn people's trust. I
Yep.
think that's a huge factor of real estate.
When you first joined us, you aspired right away to grow and build a team, which you have. You have
Yep.
4 or 5 team members?
6 agents total now.
6?
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. Including me. And then a full-time admin, or it's like an admin hybrid brand manager, kind of
Yes.
everything that we need to make us successful,
Yep.
because there's a lot of detail and there's a lot of, X's and O's and things that, you need to execute on to be successful, efficient, and just continuing to utilize the tools that you guys have provided us. And,
Mhm.
we take care of our consumer, and we treat them with all the respect, and that's something that we really execute at. But now it's, every year tinkering with, the organizational tools, the
Mhm.
CRMs, the efficiencies of real estate.
Yeah.
I think that is the hardest thing for any real estate professional to really execute and be sharp on. And it's the back end accounting.
Yeah.
And so,
It's the support systems that kinda keep you on there. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just
It's easy.
understanding like what types of tools and processes, and, you know just what's the healthy development of creating a successful team, and what can I do to make their life a lot easier,
Yeah.
and with that resonates and correlates with being a successful real estate professional, and, increasing your volume.
You hit the ground running. You did very well. You achieved the Hall of Fame
Yep.
award. It's a REMAX career award for listeners that might not be familiar with that. After 2, 3 years into it.
Yep.
And that's
Well, I
huge
appreciate that.
at
Yeah.
at a young age of 25.
Yeah. Yep.
And Hall of Fame is earning 1 million plus in commissions. And so good for you.
Thank you.
And your team is growing. Do you have goals of adding more team members or
I
what's?
think that you're open to it,
Mhm.
and I just want who is in our chamber to be successful.
Mhm.
And if you're putting the right tools and the right processes together to create that culture, I think it's all about culture. And that's where we're going to really win as a group.
Yep.
Having additional agents and teammates is great, but you have to make sure that you're taking care of who you have there in the present time.
Mhm.
And I think that, having those tools and having, really working day in and day out to make that person better,
Yep.
adding agents is going to come easier. It's going to be a lot easier process to grow. And so take care of, execute on what you have in front of you,
Mhm.
and then you're going to continue to have opportunity. That's the fun part about real estate is there's opportunity all over, and you have different and new opportunities every day.
So what is something that you bring to the table or your team that maybe perhaps other realtors do not?
I think it's the biggest thing. I would say we're investing in our customer.
Mhm.
We're going to be aggressive. We want to provide them with the greatest presentation. Remax results. You guys really instilled that and ingrained that into my foundation. They're going out there to get the most value, or the highest value for their real estate. And we that's our intention. That's what we are striving to do,
Okay.
is to create the greatest possible customer experience, and we're investing into them to show them, hey, we want to be your partner within all of your real estate needs, for not only you, but your relatives, or we want to be a part of your family.
Mhm.
And that's the biggest thing is you work with one person, and that turns into 7 people. And you know you you're always there to do what's best for them, and provide them the highest peak of the experience.
And I've seen new newer agents join your team just as you were new,
Yep.
grow into very successful
Well, I mean,
teammates under
w-
your influence.
well, I remember when I was 18, I got my license, and they said, all right, go ahead, go and sell some houses. And I was like, ah, man, like this isn't how anyone should start.
So
And
was your dad licensed, or what, he was more
no,
of an investor, or
my dad he owned a liquor store with,
okay.
yeah, he never, he is not big into risk taking. He's not big into to investing. He's just
So you're the exact opposite.
exact opposite.
But yet he's your inspiration.
He is. I mean,
Yeah.
just taking care of people,
Mm-hmm.
and great things will happen. Great karma will surround you. And for somehow, some way, I feel like just experiencing the other agents in our demographic, experiencing them buying duplexes and fourplexes and commercial properties. It's like, this is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I might want to get into. And 11 properties later, I kind of have achieved the investment goal in a sense.
Yeah.
I've been very blessed. I've been lucky for, all the experiences I've been able to come across to
Mm-hmm.
get to that point where I can buy real estate and I can invest into myself. And, a lot of that comes with, who your foundation is, who's surrounding you. And, you need people that want you to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, enters into how I run my team. I want, if I have an agent that's confused or upset, that means that I'm not doing my job. And so offering them the customer service of being the, they're the customer as well, and offering everything I can give them and leaving everything out there on the field
Yep.
to create success for them. That's my biggest thing on the agent end. And that is it falls in line with with how we want our customers treated.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of like you're raising a child, maybe in a sense. I haven't raised a child, but if you promote that to your team is going to promote that to their consumer, and that's how they're going to get more business and more referrals and have that legacy. And, you create that culture.
It's the same thing we do with our staff.
Yep.
We take care of our staff, they take care of our customers.
Yeah. And I really, that was one thing when I first started with REMAX results, is the amount of hands-on. And hey, you came from somewhere where you didn't probably think as big, and we want you to think a heck of a lot bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a confidence factor. I didn't think I could do what I did, but all of a sudden surrounded myself with people that said, hey, you can do this. You
Yep.
can have certain systems, and you can run this like an operation, and be as successful as you want to be. And I think, taking that from when I first started with you guys in 17 and promoting that, I was able to grow my team and to have retention. I think in any job, anything that you do in life, it's all about retention and earning people's trust on that end as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a big thing. I think that when I first started, I was like, these guys want me to drive a really successful bus here, and and have the right tools to grow and to do
Yep.
however I want to operate, and however which way of success I want to enter into.
Absolutely. So when you're not running your team and running around I mean, you're busy. You're busy.
Yep.
You're a serial entrepreneurialist, like entrepreneur, I should say. Um, Share with our listeners some other things that
Yeah.
you.
I've specialized in a lot of I've always worked with clients on investment properties. And
Mhm.
when I first started, I invested in rental properties myself. And
Yep.
so I have a portfolio of 11 properties, and I have properties from Duluth to Superior, Wisconsin, all the way to Bonita Springs, Florida.
Nice.
And so, I think that just it's very similar to selling. You're able to tap into different opportunity. And I think now that I have so many customers and clients that want to focus on Duluth,
Hmm.
I'm fortunate enough to go into some of these different states and these different demographics. And then also be a part of, I own two self-pour tap rooms that are a great connector for our customers, and to see the joy that comes from them, and to be able to see my customers, my, you know, my foundation come and support the tap rooms and then talk real estate. It's kind of a really cool way to engage and to connect.
You should also have your client appreciation events there, I'm
Yep.
assuming.
Oh yeah. We have meetups and we try to utilize the tap rooms in any which way, but
Yeah.
it's also just a really cool way to, if I'm around, which this spring and summer, I think we're on track to hit that 200 mark, where that's our goal this year for units. I
Wow.
haven't been able to be there as much as I usually like to be in like the winter,
Mhm.
but, I have another, it all comes together as another great piece of the foundation with the team that I have there. And,
Mhm.
they have the same goals and the same, the same vision as I do on the real estate end.
Yep.
And it's just every day you're working harder and harder to create that culture, to create that team that loves being where they are. And nobody wants to go to work and feel uncomfortable or sad. They want to go somewhere and be like, I'm really comfortable here and I love this place and I'll do anything I can for this place. And it's that buy-in culture.
Yeah.
And so I think if you can continue to strive to have that and treat people right, I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest piece of it. And just being a good person.
So, why don't you talk a little bit about, knowing that this podcast will air
Yeah.
sometime in September. We haven't had anyone from the Duluth market on the show and the
Oh,
results
okay.
for a while. I know we've had Ben Funky
Yeah.
and we've
Yep.
had Tom Little, but like what's happening right now, summer as we approach fall, 2023 in Duluth. A lot of our listeners are in the Twin Cities area,
Yeah.
so it's a great connection for them to hear, you guys are not experiencing as big, you never did really, even during the pandemic years, as big of a swing as we see
I think the
in more of the.
biggest factor there
Mhm.
is that we don't see a lot of new construction. And
Right.
I think that without new construction, we have that same inventory flow that
Mhm.
we constantly see every year. And of course, I think everybody inventory wise is down, the last, 12 to 18 months because of the interest rates being higher and,
Yep.
that having that 2.5, 2.75 interest rate and being locked and loaded there, that makes people hesitant
Mhm.
to want to go to that next, hey, we want to be in the country, or we want an extra 5 to 1,000 square feet. I think that's the biggest thing for people. And, I think that we just need, we really focus on education and educating our buyers on, you know, these are the benefits of you purchasing now. And, when the rates do come back down, it could be very 2020, 2021 like again. And
Mhm.
so, you know, being able to find your dream. I think that's the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
We want nothing's more satisfying than securing your customer's dream.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing right now. That's the battle of, we need to do these things to put you in the position to where you're going to secure your dream and this is what you've always wanted.
Mhm.
And so, there's a level of hesitance right now just because, they are sitting in their, starter home or their second
And
home
their
at.
comfortable interest rates. Yeah.
Yes, it's I have one client who, he's been in his old little home for, the last 5 years, a starter home, and they're starting to expand and, he's they're we they're trying to decide if they should compromise or not. And, me trying to educate him on, well, these are different market trends. These are different conditions where I think if you guys did buy now,
Mhm.
you're going to have equity down the road and you're going to think one day, wow, I'm glad that we did do this and we did pull the trigger on and buying our dream home or our next step up home. And
So I have a question more back on the Duluth market. I do talk to other sales executives quite a bit about the lack of construction up there. It's
yep,
a lot of There's no national builders in
nope.
the area, and there's reasons. I'm curious to hear. It's hard to build in certain parts, but yet I also hear a lot of people are moving to Duluth. So how does that work?
Yeah, I think it's, the biggest thing for Duluth is you have, of course, the seasons,
Hmm.
the building season's relatively short.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of lakes and, bodies of water and restrictions of, being able to build on certain properties
Hmm.
and things like that. But that's what people that's the drive of why people come is they want the body of water. They want the accessibility to be on a lake in the summer and snowshoe and ice fish in the winter.
Mhm.
You get the best of everything. And, some of the, we have a demographic of people that they enjoy Duluth's best and greatest summers, but they also head south for a couple months
Mhm.
and enjoy, the Florida or Texas or California, areas when it is, there is 12 inches of snow or it is negative 30 degrees out. And so I do think that Duluth will continue to figure out ways to figure out that, find that void and try to
For
bring
building.
in more new
Mhm.
construction and, condominiums. We also are an older demographic. I feel like we have, when you come to Duluth, when you live in Duluth, you live there for a very long time.
Mhm.
And so I think there's a demand for housing that, is more of like a condominium style that is more affordable, that has a more communal environment. And
Yeah.
then, I think that also you know, just the new construction in general, I feel like at some point we're going to start to see more and more expansion to that. And,
Okay.
I think that Duluth is everlasting, ever growing. It's going to only get bigger and bigger, I feel like. And it's that big little town, and so
Mhm.
I think we have some really strong and very um, driven people that want to see Duluth grow in a certain way and be a safe and fun environment and to be able to enjoy all of the lakes and the big lake, the Lake Superior and Canal Park. And so I feel confident that we'll be able to stabilize that void. And, the other big part of it too is, just being able to have the younger demographic take on the benefits of home ownership too, which
Yeah.
I think that's been a challenge as well. And so thinking of different ways to create communities that are affordable, that are realistic for people, and that they can afford, and then they can enjoy having their own home. And I see positive change over time here.
Okay.
And yes, we are in a demographic where inventory has continued to be a struggle, but I think, we have a lot of strong and courageous people that really love Duluth. Duluth is like, people have that, it's a weird passion and love that, you can't, you don't get attached to as much in other areas, so
I agree. I
yeah.
would agree with you. So, switching gears just a little bit, I'm gonna try and pull some admission out of you or something. Let's talk about what is there something that you're not doing in your business that you're aware you should be doing?
I think it's just taking advantage of all of the things that you guys offer us as a company. And that it's all about systems. I feel like if you can execute on being more efficient,
Mhm.
I feel like we use some of the things. I think any real estate professional, they use tools that maybe they aren't using to the fullest potential. And so
Mhm.
yesterday, for example, good example, we went through our CRM and all this. We went through it with someone that works for the company.
Which CRM?
Follow Boss,
Okay.
FUB. They call it FUB now. That was
Yes.
another thing that we learned yesterday.
FUB. Yep.
But working with we did a webinar with someone that worked with us directly, and
Mhm.
they were running through all these things that we had no clue that we weren't executing with, and we weren't utilizing some of these tools. And so I'm working harder and harder to, really these tools and these things that we are offered, we need to use to the fullest potential and to really just use that as a driver to create more business.
Thank you.
And I think
Yes, I
that is
love
the
that.
biggest. We're always going to take care of people, and we're always going to go the extra step for our people, for our
Mhm.
customer, and for our agents. It's just dialing in your systems,
Mhm.
creating more of I think when you create more of an organized lifestyle, you're going to sell more. You're going to be able to spend more time at the lake. You're going to be able to spend more time hanging out with your dog
Mhm.
and living your life. And you have to have that happy medium, that balance.
Mhm.
Not everyone should have to be like last night. I was 12:30. I was shooting out perch screamings and working late. And for me, it's a passion. I love that, but not everybody wants to have to do some of those things. And so to get very organized and very balanced and very lean that way
Yeah.
and utilize everything that you have, I think it's really important for not only your business and how much more you'll sell,
Mhm.
but your lifestyle and what you can do every day and your golf game, being able to to have some of that extra me time, and that's going to make you a better version in your business as well.
Yeah.
And so we want to think smart, work hard, but have that balance and have you know, the leisure of being able to go to work and then come back and not feel stressed, and don't bring that work home with you or bring it to a family dinner or things like that.
Yeah. You're a natural driver. You don't need like caffeine.
Yeah, no, I
You're
have a lot of
you're
energy. Yep.
Energizer bunny.
Yep.
Like when you do wind down, what would you are there do you like to read? Are there podcasts?
I'll say if I
What's your
wasn't in real estate, the closest thing to being a professional baseball player
Oh,
was being a realtor. More analytics driven, more like it's like hitting for a 400 average and 40 home
the
runs.
Moneyball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Moneyball.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I always wanted to. I as a kid, we grew up at the baseball field,
Okay.
and so I always wanted to do something where I could, work hard enough and create success in with what I control.
Mhm.
And that's, I feel like, how an athlete is. And so a lot of times when I go home, I'm watching baseball or I'm watching hockey or I'm listening to my hockey podcasts and
Cool.
and different things like that. And then being able to spend time with my dogs that I have. I have 3 dogs, which can be chaotic
What
as
kind
well.
of
2
dogs?
Springer Spaniels and a Shiba Inu.
Oh,
So
what?
a Shiba Inu, it's like Dogecoin used to be super popular. It was the dog on
Yes.
the
Oh,
Dogecoin.
I know Doge.
Yep. Yep.
Because of my
So
kids, I know the Doge. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I love spending time with them. And I just recently moved back into town.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of helped me with my balance of my work life to being able to be more convenient and
Mm-hmm. Did you know
be
that Garrett in IT, Garrett Eckern has
he has a Shiba. Yep. Yeah. His Shiba is very
it's a secret society.
it's much more quiet, more timid. My Shiba just loves to bark and loves to hop around, and so it's every time he comes to the office, I make a way to make sure I see his Shiba because it is one of the cutest Shibas of all time. So, but
That's
yeah,
good.
being able to have that balance, being back locally in town. I was out in Rice Lake Township in the country. I own a property that's right on the Lake Spear hiking trail. And so
Mm-hmm.
I lived there for 5 years, and I still have that property. And maybe at some point when, I'm transitioning out of being in a environment like this where we're selling a lot and we're working with a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
maybe go back there at some point, but
Yeah.
was able to find a home near the Maple Grove office and be a couple minutes away when I need to print a sheet or work with our team over there. And so
Nice.
it's just creating a happy lifestyle and
Nice.
just putting yourself in the best position to succeed. And it's just have the understanding that you're always your customers, your team, your family, those are your priority of treating them right. And
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest thing. Just people. We're not in the real estate business. We're in the people business.
Yeah.
And I say that clear and loud. And
Yes.
that's the common denominator for having a successful, not only business, but life.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, this is very exciting. I was mildly nervous, but you were a great host. And
No, I've
know.
been, and I appreciate you making the trip. So
yeah, it was good. It was good to drive down and kind of ease into all my calls and my follow-ups and things like that, and come in here and be able to see you and meet with you and
Yeah.
see this beautiful office that you guys have and be able to be a part of this experience. So I appreciate you for having me as well.